a few problems.
It's loading.
Thank you, ma'am.
As I call the meeting to order this evening at 6 o'clock, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play in Mi'kmaq, the traditional and ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are all treated people with a responsibility to each other and to this land. There does not appear to be an in-person public forum. Is there anything online, Heather?
There is not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then I will remind members that I'm going to be reading the motion so that what we are discussing is on the table. It's just a reminder, and then if anyone has amendments and so on, we will deal with them and then come to a motion. It just tidies things up. So I'm going to read the first motion, which is pretty simple. That the agenda of the October 16th, 2024 regular monthly meeting be approved as presented or as amended by anyone in the group. Randy,
Second,
thank you.
I
Thank
just
you,
want
Gloria.
to,
Certainly.
yeah,
we got the motion.
there was one thing, I think it was with regard to the fire parking lot and the
Oh, yes.
ambulance.
Yeah,
I think there was a confusion, Heather, that you'd mentioned that you were going to the municipality. In the minute, I gave that as an example of how they were handling it, their property. That, I believe, was Danny Bootler does that.
is
I
that
believe
not
so.
in the agenda?
It is,
In the
it
minutes.
isn't actually.
No?
No.
It was in the last time,
It
I
was in
think,
the last.
I
Oh, so
think
it
the
was in
way
the
it was
minutes.
stated was we wanted to see if we could use salt, basically.
Yeah, it
Wasn't that
was, the
Yeah.
referral to was their property in the minutes. There's just confusion. that's all.
Oh, okay, okay. So did you ever find out anything?
I haven't talked to them about
Okay,
that,
where would you
no,
like-
I've got a meeting with Fred.
In the fire department, but
later
we
in the
do have a discussion when that Ray Cambria letter comes up. Shall we do it there?
Yeah, I've got, well, can I add some more then
Sure,
to that discussion?
yeah.
Yeah, one, I think it's just old business from years ago was the fire antenna. And I guess that's it for the fire.
Okay, so the motion will read that the agenda as presented will in addition refer to the possibility of using or not using salt in the parking lot. And also a discussion of the,
Antenna.
thank you, and the antenna for the fire department. And are you still willing to move the motion?
Sure.
And Gloria second. Thank you. Any objections? Motion is carried. The second draft motion is that the minutes of the September 18th, 2024 regular monthly meeting be approved as presented, or does anyone in the group have amendments to the meeting? No? May I have a motion to approve? Thank you, Gloria.
Second,
Thank you, Tom. Business arising, reserve funds report and draft policy, that is item 5.1. Which is page 7 in your preparation list. Heather, do you want to read that?
Oh, well, we went through the report last time for notice of motion.
Yeah.
So I've just slightly updated it to include a different draft motion to actually approve it, but there's been no changes to the policy itself. None were requested.
Okay. Has everyone read the revised draft motion? I'll read it. That the village commission approve the draft, in quotes, reserve fund and investment policy 2024, end quote, as presented, and direct the clerk treasurer to send the policy to the Minister of Municipal Affairs for approval. May I have a motion? Thank you, Gloria. A second? Thank you, Randy. The motion, does anyone object? The motion is carried. Okay, item 5.2, street decor draft survey. We'll do this in two parts, I guess. First draft motion. that the commission wants a public survey on village street decor as per the draft provided or amended as soon as possible. And Heather and I had a bit of a discussion when we had our preliminary meeting yesterday about how we would distribute it and so on. I assume everyone has read the draft. Does anybody want to add or delete anything in the survey?
Yeah, some of it isn't really factually correct. The flower baskets, I go back to day one with it. They've always been difficult. That's just the nature of them. They're hanging and they're being close to the roots. So they're no more difficult now than they were only some odd years ago, when that thing goes up. So it's not really a matter of, you may want to change it for the sake of changing them, I don't know, but it's not that they're more difficult. than
More
they were.
expensive, Tom, than they were back when you
Well, it's
started.
costing you $25.
$1,000. Then we gotta get someone to hang them and water them and,
Yeah, same thing with it. Anything you're gonna hang, Randy, you're gonna,
I'm just saying there have been
I think.
significant rise in cost over the years.
Nevertheless, they do really add to the
Yeah,
village. I
I can make that argument with everything we do.
think.
True, true.
Inflation is inflation. isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the avenue to go. I can give you the history of it. It started with Fogtana,
Oh, yeah.
okay, and it went through. What they did is they hired, well, the same group that did the study for the village, I forget, EG. what's it?
EDS.
Yeah, that
Okay,
humongous study.
yeah, and they did it at the time, and then what they did is they got focus groups within the village. And they narrowed it down to like flowers was one, trees, sidewalks, and then they had everyone look at it, and then they structured it in order of what you want to do. So the first 3 years of flowers were privately funded. Then it was taken to the village of the day, put before the village, and the village had there was a big turnout and did a vote on it. It was like 95% approval for the fires or for the flowers, and that's where they go. But I think you need focus groups because the stuff you're putting down here. I think you gotta, if you're gonna change it, you gotta kind of rein it in a little bit and narrow the options down. You can work with it.
That suggestion has merit. However, if we choose to go in that direction, we do have to decide that next year there will definitely be flower boxes because we need to make the order. And then we can proceed to consider how to do focus groups. So then it would be 2026 if a change became necessary. How do people feel about that idea?
Yeah.
I believe that's part of our choices, isn't it? It's one of the choices we've been given here. Number 3, maybe, or something? No, maybe, but there are several options laid out by staff.
Yeah.
And number 3 appears to be the one that we're talking about here, I believe.
Well, you're asking for alternatives, but I think what Tom is suggesting is that it might be better to do focus groups as opposed to I'm open to either suggestion. I think that they both have value, but sometimes when you have people in a room and talking, it's somewhat more productive than what we're considering doing is a mail out. Because
Yeah.
to do a website, I mean, you just have ineffective
You'll name it,
response.
you'll get it.
Yeah, so what Heather and I discussed is a mail out in the village with this document or
Yeah, the print
essentially this
version.
document.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same, it's just.
Or we could, as a commission, decide that we will not do this right now. Or we could put it out and say this is something to think about at some point in the future, and we can organize in-person forums. I don't know, I mean, we don't get people to anything, let alone AGMs, let alone forums, but it's a suggestion that has value.
You'd probably have to inviting people that have ideas that wanna,
Well, yeah,
they'll show, if they don't show, they don't really.
So basically, you're saying with regard to the flowers, at this point, nothing changes.
Well, not
Since
For
we have
this
to
year.
make
we're
the
running out
order.
of time.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah,
I
we're
think-
running out of time to do the order.
Madam Chair, I think it's number 3 is kind of what you're suggesting.
Yeah, that was my thought, yeah.
I think that's what you're,
Yeah, I don't know whether,
it's proceed with flower basket order for 2025 and
or,
concurrently begin public consultation via survey or whatever.
Yeah.
The commission would regroup post-survey to review. Well, I guess the first part for sure, that's what you're proposing, 2024.
well, I'm only suggesting, as a group, I think this evening, we need to decide, are we gonna send out the survey? Or are we just going to say, okay, for next year, we're gonna order the flower boxes, but between now and next year, we're going to have focus groups and discuss in person, or we're going to do the survey. And don't forget, the survey does not commit us to anything.
Oh, no, I know, yeah.
We were able to get an extension to the date.
Okay.
For the order?
For the order to the beginning of December, should we decide we want to take advantage of that. And as far as these go, of course, it's completely up to you. The survey is meant to be broad, and it could be followed by focus groups,
Yeah.
or you could just do one or the other, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, exactly, and it is, because we've had some people negative about the flower boxes, we've got other people very positive about the flower boxes. Myself, I think that they enhance the look of the village tremendously.
They do, and people talk about them all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they really look lovely.
Yeah.
So my inclination is just to say, oh, to hell with it, order them for next year, but we'll do the survey and
Yeah.
we'll discuss it, and perhaps we'll follow up with some focus groups, but let's just go with the
Go,
basket for next year.
I think let's go with them.
The other question, of course, is it's, what's the word, mentioned in the stuff that 2023, however, was a dud year.
Well, it
Yeah,
happens.
you know, and the thing with living plant matter and
Yeah.
climate
Yeah.
change,
Yeah,
is it gonna be a viable option in future years?
it
You
may
know,
not be, but it was great this year.
Oh, they were gorgeous.
I checked
Yeah.
that, I went to the public gardens in Halifax, top gardens, plants in general.
yes, I realize it, but is that going to be more often now that the climate is changing?
They
you know?
haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I
just
see-
a bad summer, you're saying?
Yeah, they said like, it hasn't really changed. We got good summers, bad summers.
Okay,
And
no,
I've
Just
asked
a-
them, I said, is there a trend? And they say,
it
no.
was just a question in my
Yeah.
I
mind,
think
and
every
I
once in a
won't
while you
argue.
get a bad
Yeah,
year, I mean, I'm a gardener, and every once in a
Yeah.
while you just get a
Okay.
bad year.
And no
So-
2 years are exactly the same.
Yeah, okay.
Nature is funny. though.
I can accept
I
that.
would like to suggest, and because of what Tom suggested, that number 8, we phrase
Is
it in
there a
some
number
way
8?
that if you're interested
Which
in
page is it?
attending a
Oh, on the
forum,
survey, okay.
yeah, if you're interested in attending a forum, please give us a discussion forum about.
A focus
alternatives, a
group or
focus
something,
group.
yeah.
Please give us your name, just be a little bit more specific about that, and then that way, we won't have meetings at which no one turns up. We can at least invite specific people
Yeah.
who have indicated an interest in attending.
What did we budget for baskets this year?
Or
Dollars.
23
I
cents.
think it's 23.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're below budget then, are we on that? They
We're-
cost us
we're
21
pretty much
and
there.
we
Yeah.
haven't spent all our money, basically.
Nearly.
So now,
But yes.
did that amount of money include him putting them up and
Yes.
taking them down?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's the
Yeah.
entire-
so we're
put all of
under
it.
budget, basically, okay.
By pennies.
Well, yeah, I know, it's
About
close,
1,000,
but,
so-
yeah.
That's.
So I guess what I'm saying is next budget discussions, do we have to, we'll have to see what she wants for flowers here, I guess, and we'll have to see. Okay,
Can I make a suggestion that the order go in as norm?
yeah,
So what, she's not coming back and saying, well, you delayed it.
I don't have anything left, yeah, too bad.
Put it in
No,
and,
Yeah.
she's
Okay.
ordered them, but she can delete or.
oh, I see, okay.
Okay, so let's have a look at our motions and see how we can amend them to fit our discussion. That the commission launch a public survey on village street decor as per the draft provided or amended as soon as possible. So I suggest we amend it to ask persons who are interested in attending a public forum to discuss it, to add their name and address.
That's to the survey,
To the
speak to the
survey,
survey.
or strictly to the survey.
Okay,
Okay, so that is motion 1. Are people comfortable with moving, seconding and passing that? Heather?
Just a question, the as soon as possible was in there in
Well, why
case
don't
we
we
were in a
say
bit of a hurry.
immediately?
But I'd kind of like to get through this election before we start mailing
Okay.
anything else out.
Okay, yeah, well, since we have decided to go ahead and order that, I would say, after the municipal elections are
But
concluded.
we could just leave it as soon as possible. I just
Okay.
wanted-
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
wanted to make sure we.
I gotta
Yeah.
ask the question, what's the elections got to do with the flowers?
Well,
There's
people are
just- It's
overwhelmed.
mailings. like,
Oh, I see, okay.
Mailings.
Yeah,
Blizzard and
people only have
stuff.
so
Yeah,
much
I get-
brain.
yeah.
Door
attention
knocks and
matter.
such,
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
and there's
Okay.
mailings about to go out for a public information meeting for fire as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so were you able to get that?
Yes.
Motion, okay, may I have a mover and seconder, please? Thank
You
you.
moving or
Gloria.
second? I'll
She moved
second.
it, she was
I'll
first,
second.
you'll second, Randy second. Okay, that the commission place an order for 75 flower baskets for summer 2025 with the cost pre-approved for the 25-26 budget with the CPI increase. May I have a motion for that?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Randy.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tom. And then, although we have already asked the supplier for an extension, we can forego that motion.
Yes.
Okay, and I assume, I did not ask if there are objections, but I'm assuming that we're not. Motion carried. Okay.
That was the survey.
Okay, since we're on flower baskets, it's not really part of the survey, but it's a list that I had. Is the flower basket still up?
Oh, really?
Is that gonna be taken down?
Really?
It's,
Don't pay Carrie until I get that basket out of there.
It's
You did tell me
roughly,
one was missing. That's so funny.
I guess you'd say Valley Road and number 3 highway across the street,
Okay.
roughly in that area.
Isn't that, but
Over by the stream like there?
no,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
wonder he thought there was one missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Well, yes, I guess we should look into the high security items.
sometimes they get
immediately.
knocked down and.
Yeah.
No, this one's hanging.
Okay, that concludes our items on item 5 for the agenda. We're moving on to item 6, correspondence.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
the first item on our agenda is a letter from Ray Cambria.
Cambria.
Cambria. And it refers to why the village offices have been removed from planning for the proposed new fire station. And at the same time, we're going to be discussing the 2 items that Tom brought forward, which relate to the fire department. But we'll do each subject sequentially, if everyone is comfortable with that. So let's start with Ray's letter, and that is in your packages, 6.1, which is what page?
21.
21. Heather, do you want to start us?
Excuse me, I apologize, I'm pretty scratchy. So he essentially has 2 questions here. One is the question about why the village offices have been removed from the plan, and 2, who will hold the deed to the property which the village currently has.
Okay, well, let's start with item 1.
So this was a decision that was taken by the fire committee last month. I think it was at a special meeting, actually, just before their.
Yeah, I wasn't there when they. did
Yeah.
that.
I
How long
wrote it-
have you been going, Randy?
Pretty near since we started, when we hived it off, Nancy retained the position.
So how
I went
did-
as an interested public.
Yeah,
member, that's
how
all.
did you miss this meeting, I wonder?
Well, if it was a special, I wouldn't have been there.
Yeah,
I just go to the regular meetings, you know.
yeah, it was a special meeting.
Maybe it was in
Called by
camera
the
or something
executive.
too, yeah.
Is they were at a place where they were still struggling to nail down the floor plan. So to the best of my understanding, there was some concerns around, actually, do you want me to show those?
No, just describe it for now, unless anybody's getting
on
very
the-
antsy about it.
The village offices were on the main floor, and the intention was to share the meeting space up on the 2nd floor for meetings and public meetings and so on. But they were running into some challenges with the locker space and change space, that they had enough room for the number of people they have now, but there was no room for growth. And given that, and all the change rooms have to be like individual, gender neutral ones because of the mix of the firefighters. And there was also some concern about keeping the decontamination and clean areas, like the traffic flow. So it was mainly around that, and there was also some discomfort for sure from the fire department about the village being there.
Okay, well, from my
Really?
perspective, clearly, the fire department, from my perspective, is critical to our community as a whole, and we want to support them in every way that we can. However, I have a concern about the process. I do feel that the village had an expectation in the original planning that our offices would be there. Subsequent to that, there are clear reasons why the fire department needed more room. And had it been brought to us, I am sure that as a group, we would have said, we think that you're more important, your needs are more important than our needs. But the process was flawed. It should have come to us before the final decision was made. That's my opinion. I don't know how other people feel, but that's how I feel about it.
And I think, what are we going to tell Mr. Cambria, since we also have no idea why they did what they did?
No, we know why. and-
Well, we
and-
have
and
some
quite
sort of
frankly-
situation, yeah.
Quite frankly, I agree with the premise. I'd much rather support the fire department and their needs
Mhm.
and their personnel and their requirements than the fact that we wouldn't have
Oh,
offices
agreed,
there.
agreed, yeah.
But I feel that the process.
So,
was
yes, I guess that would be my,
Yeah.
I had no
I didn't
idea.
know it.
I went to one meeting and everything was as before, and I went to the next meeting and it was gone.
Yeah.
This is the public meetings of the committee. And at the time, I thought, well, where are we in this new
Yeah,
plan that they came
there
up
was
with?
a step skipped,
You
I'm
know,
afraid.
I'm not, can we get an answer? I'm not a believer that it should be there. I'm not supporting putting it there. About process.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we get an answer?
We can, I can do a letter for you to the officers of the committee
Yeah.
and ask
Yeah,
them for a
that I
response.
was going to propose that as
Yeah.
well, Tom, that we simply put in writing
Mhm.
that we agree with the decision that the fire
Yeah.
department's needs are more important than our anticipated offices. But that we, since it was obviously so significant in terms of our outlook and planning and so on, that it would have been courteous at the very least that we had been consulted.
Yeah, I'm a believer that commission office should be in the
separate
center
spot.
of the, well, it should be in the center of the village.
I
mean,
actually agree with Tom. I like it being here.
People
Yes.
fight like hell because communities, cities, towns, villages get hollowed out. And people go to great effort, that almost happened to Halifax about 20 years ago. Go to great effort to maintain the center. We're the village commission. We should be where we are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly happy. I just am not happy with
The process, I agree, yeah.
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 And that was my complaint too.
Yeah.
Is that I gather that it had to be done for some reason or another. I just wish I would have known from them why it was done,
Yeah.
that's all. It's a
Yeah.
process.
Same
Yeah, it
here.
came from, well, as you know,
Acre or somebody?
actually, it didn't come from them, no, it was, they were just given the direction to do the revision, but there's subcommittees as part of that
Mhm.
committee that work on this, so they can,
And-
like, so it was James brought it forward. He asked for the
And
meeting.
also to speak to them,
Mhm.
they're still finding their feet. They're very new. And, processes take a while to develop. But to speak specifically to Ray's letter, the needs of the fire department came before the needs of the commission. And the commission feels satisfied that they prefer to stay in the center of the village, and we're happy with the outcome.
Sure, I
Is
got no
everybody
problem.
pleased?
I
Yeah.
have, I have no problem with that.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
To the second point, which is strictly a legal point, we own the land, end of story.
Yeah.
So we own the building as well? Or
No, we don't know the building.
what does
we
he
own the
say?
land.
Who holds the deed, or did he
Who
say?
holds the deed?
The deed to the
property.
property, which is, we already own. it.
Yeah.
No, no, we own the property.
Yeah, we own the property.
Okay.
And.
We bought the property.
I think his question is, so it's
No,
the,
it's the property. He asked who's gonna hold the deed to the property. It's a specific question.
So we,
Yeah.
there
And-
wasn't an intention of
and it-
moving that to
Yeah,
the.
the building will belong to the fire committee, but we are the
We're half of that,
funders.
too.
You know, we're 50,
Yeah, so
more
we'll have
or less
50% of the
50% of the funder, our taxpayers.
But they'll hold the deed to the building.
They will.
Should they dissolve or something, we would just
We-
split it
We
up.
get, yeah,
It's a
Yeah.
little similar to our current fire station where we own the building and the municipality
Exactly.
owns the land.
yeah, and this is
Mm.
just kind of the reverse, except it's not the municipality that owns the building, it's the committee. But should the committee dissolve, all the assets would then be split between the municipality and the commission.
I just think in this particular case, Mr. Cambry deserves some sort of explanation.
Yeah.
It's a valid point.
I think when you use
Yeah.
the word property, you probably meant both.
Now,
I
when
say-
he says deed,
No, I meant in terms of why the commission.
Well, I'd
was
like to
taken out.
know exactly
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah, so I guess it's rare that we agree, Mr. Cambry and I would have to say that in this case, I
yeah,
agree with him.
there's no question
But it's a
whatsoever that we
process.
belong,
Yeah.
we own the property. That's never been a question. We
It's a
own the
process
property.
issue why we weren't informed. We're
But that's a
saying,
separate issue.
yes, of course, yeah. But that, it's odd for me to actually come down in favor of one of these letters, but in this
Yeah, no, I
particular
think we should.
case.
And I don't think it's useful to answer a question that has not been asked.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
Okay, is
So-
everyone satisfied with that
So
discussion?
you will make some
I will
sort of,
draft a letter for Geraldine to the fire committee.
and for Ray,
Yeah, I can draft.
something flowery and nice and, you know,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
okay, is everyone satisfied with 6.1? Okay, we'll carry on then. Reports, and that means.
wait,
oh,
while
go
we're
ahead.
on the
Oh,
fire-
my
oh,
God,
that's
yes, I'm
right.
sorry, I
Yeah,
apologize.
this goes back years. There's an antenna behind the hall that I believe is used for communication between the trucks. Some kind of communication.
Now,
This is
isn't
not
that
the
odd?
East
I
Link.
always thought that was an East Link tower.
No, they're there too.
No, they're there.
That's the
too.
big
Oh,
white
okay.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I meant to turn that off.
This happened in 5 or 6 years ago, maybe. There was a storm and there used to be a shed over the fireboat. The shed blew over in the storm, hit this antenna, and it's a big kink in it. The commission got the insurance, and it was like 30,000-40,000. But it's never been fixed. I don't think we're insured if it one day goes over. I think it should be looked into.
I can look into it, I'm not aware of
Is
it
that
at all.
That's
still
before
our
our time.
purview, or is that the committee?
Well, I don't know.
It would be the committee now,
Okay,
but
can you draft?
I
a
can at
letter
least
to
find
them?
out from Cody what the heck it's for and are they even using it?
I doubt that Cody would know anything about it. That's how
Yeah.
far back it
Cause
goes.
they just got new trunk mobile radios yesterday from the province, so.
Well, if it may pose danger, I would prefer a letter, but staff to staff, so write yourself, please.
That's right, you're the administration.
I
yeah.
know.
No, this is one of those things that should be on the record,
Okay,
as opposed to a telephone call.
Yeah.
And then the other item.
Well, that was it. I just want to make sure we're covered.
Yeah,
Insurance was.
yeah.
That's my
And,
concern.
and that's
Makes
why I
sense.
wanted in writing.
Yeah.
And what was the other item?
No, I think that was it.
Oh, I thought-
No, the only thing we brought up, and it was in the minutes, it was over the parking lots up
Oh,
there,
the parking lot and salt.
which is ours, not the municipalities. You knew that.
yeah, I know we own that, it's just a question of whether we do have to consult with them about changing what we're doing.
If we're doing salt instead of
Yeah.
sand, yeah, it's,
Doesn't that
there
have
may
something
be
to do with
legal
Department of
ramifications.
Transportation?
Yeah, it'll be them or it'll be transportation, I'm really not sure, but I
Well,
have
this
to
is-
talk, I
this
have a
is-
meeting with Fred coming up anyway, so I'll talk.
This
to
is
him.
us, I'm talking the parking lots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, I see we're not gonna talk about the pool here tonight, right? Because there was one other item, I have to bring it up on its own. There, the pool house, there's a sun awning that goes out. There's a cover for that for the winter somewhere down there. And it should be covered over, that material rots.
In fact, we had intended on replacing it this year, but we managed to eke out another year of it. Because it wasn't working, but I'll check with Gibby about a cover.
Okay.
Moving on. Okay, report. Sorry about your voice there, Heather.
Yeah, it's only gonna get better from here. Okay, so activity report. The exterior wall repair is well underway by J Mason Contracting. They can only work at high tide, so it's a start and stop process. So if you, low tide, sorry. Did I put high tide? I'm sorry. Oh my God.
You're right, it's
gotta be low tide.
Low tide.
So if you-
Yeah.
Every
Have to
time I
correct
go
that.
by, it's not the right time, to see them, so. I plan to request an estimate for completion of the final part of the wall that's not being done this year, so we can plan the future capital budget. An RFP for repairs to the rock retaining wall is in development, and the replacement main pump has been delivered. It will be installed when the water lines are put back out in the harbor in spring.
Do you want me to read this and then if anybody has questions, they can ask you? I feel like you're hurting yourself.
It's okay, it's not that much. Beautification, the benches in front of the public washroom have been repaired, and the bollard covers at the gym lot have been installed.
I noticed this.
And then just a reference to the draft.
Yeah, I noticed them the other day.
Okay.
Insurance, we're still awaiting invoices for the village insurance renewal. So you won't see those costs reflected in the budget variance report, but it is done.
Are they already, excuse me,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
are they already paid now?
they have an invoice.
Oh, we don't even have an invoice.
Yeah, but everything's bound, it's all,
Oh,
It's
yeah,
all
no,
locked in.
I was thinking in terms
just
of
seems-
budget variance here, since
Yeah.
we have no idea what this is gonna cost.
well, I do have some of that information on the proposal they sent, and it's
Hmm.
very close to last year.
Okay,
so
well, that's good.
Looks like
We
we're.
budgeted
we're
enough
fine.
to handle it then, okay.
And I won't read through the Association of Nova Scotia Villages Conference, other than just to comment that it was very good, and I always find there's lots of advice, support, and food for thought.
Good.
Tom and I made a lot of notes, didn't we?
Yeah, I'd like to make one point, Heather, that was brought up. Villages were kind of like low life in the system. They now have finally been recognized by the province. And this goes back some time, I know Brenda was involved with it, but a lot of the work was done at the folks at Bible Hill and Kingston.
Yeah.
And they're at the point now where I guess we've just got to maintain it and be active, but they now finally are on equal footing with everybody else.
They're seeing us as a separate thing.
Well, we are
We're under the
legit.
same map.
Yeah,
Before, we were not really considered legit,
yeah, I know what
which
you're
we
saying.
are now.
So the language is gonna say commission instead of
Well, no,
council, that
government
sort of
people
thing,
now
yeah.
show up to meetings as well,
Yeah,
so.
well, that's good.
It took a long
Very
time,
good.
but it's finally happened.
So
That
did you find it
advocacy-
worthwhile to
Yeah.
go?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay.
I also attended a day-long workshop on procurement at the Amon's Fall Conference on September 23rd. And I know that sounds dry, but it actually wasn't. It actually was really good. It was excellent and will be very useful in preparing the larger scale projects we have coming. And I just made a note that our purchasing policy could use a refresh.
I'm sure it could,
Move
yeah.
on to that at some point this year. And that's it for that one.
Excellent, thank you, Heather. So financial, now Randy gets to shine.
Well, maybe. There were a few things that I wanted to, actually, if anyone else wants to go first, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, I will just mention that
Forego.
the annual financial reporting that we have to give to the Department of Municipal Affairs has all gone in, so.
Yeah, that was noted, I
Yeah.
believe, yeah.
Yeah, it's just important.
So does anyone else wanna check off a few things in that, or can I go?
You go.
Okay. Okay, that first one there, I assume we now have our third quarter money in
What page
place.
are you on
I'm
now?
sorry, 26,
Okay,
and 4,100, the very top one. And you had noted that we got our Q3 early or something?
We did.
So that's, does that show up in the 306,000 in line one?
It does. That's why
Okay.
it's showing the percent remaining.
So
is
that would mean we
25.
should have 25. Okay, that
Yeah.
was my question, yeah. Some of these things I perhaps was a little stupid on, but
No, it's not. That's what this
Okay.
is for.
now you say the HST rebate has been removed. Where does it go?
It's
I don't
actually-
see it anywhere else.
No, I had it in there with a zero, so it doesn't really affect anything. It was just, in case there was a question, it just should never have been included in.
Yeah, but where
Revenue.
is it notated?
It's actually in a whole other section. It's not revenue.
Okay, that's fine. But where? I went through all of this
No,
and I
it's,
couldn't
you won't
find it.
see it. I took it right out.
Okay,
Because it's on a whole other line item.
Okay.
Buried further up the budget.
very good, very
But
good.
the offset grant is revenue, and so that was nice. It
Okay.
came in a little higher. than
Yeah,
we
it did. That
expected.
was nice.
And in
The,
fact, there's
oh,
one
sorry.
other update to that, the transfer from Canada Summer Jobs for the lifeguards.
Got that now?
Actually just arrived today, and it's
Okay.
actually almost double that figure,
excellent,
so.
okay.
You mean double what we budgeted? Oh, super. Love that.
That makes rent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, the rental of the tower is only showing 5% left. And yet this is only 50% of the year here, is it not?
They pay that as an annual.
Oh, okay,
amount, so
okay,
that's-
that's no problem, as
that's
long as,
complete.
yeah, that makes sense. So we have, right now, you have total oh no, 25%, right, excuse me. 5450,
Mhm.
annual public meeting. I'm sorry, I'm going by GL number here, if you're
Yes.
wondering what I'm doing. That one seems to be, we really got creamed on that. Was there some specific, you did give a reason. Let me get the notes out here. Thank you, by the way, for another great set of notes. Fella could figure it out. So why were we so much over budget there?
That one, we hadn't booked a haul the year before. We took that number from the year before. And we had just done it here.
And then we had to pay the penalty for not using it?
Oh, no, we did.
Oh, yeah, we
used
did
it,
actually, yeah.
Yeah,
We
for
did
that
use it.
one person that
I
attended.
know, right?
So it's basically because of this penalty, we got, our outlay is a lot higher. That was a one-shot deal, no more elections or anything happening.
Oh, that's another line item on the election.
Yeah, no more meetings, so of annual public.
No, that's it.
Yeah, okay. That was my only question. Now, the low income tax 5431 through 5496.
Mhm.
You said unknown amount till end of fiscal year. Well, we've budgeted a good $8,000 there. Do you suppose that's gonna be enough to handle it
I
when it
think
does
so,
come in?
what we've seen.
I don't know why
so
they can't
far.
tell us who applied
Yeah.
and how much money they
Well, I
wanted.
get like a whole chart reconciling everything at the end of the fiscal year,
Yes.
and that's how I can pull those numbers.
But until then, we have absolutely no
Yeah.
idea how much that's gonna
What
cost.
line are you on?
5461. Oh, I'm sorry, no, that wasn't it. Oh, I would never stop that. Low income property, 5431, 5432. That's those low income property
Oh, I
exemptions
see,
and
okay.
things.
I
And they're
asked-
listed as just sitting there. I mean, we don't
Well, you
know.
don't know until the end of the
Does
year.
it-
Although
Can't we
I
find
can't
out?
ask them for an interim, cause there's 2 tax bills
Oh,
a
no,
year.
I realize it wouldn't
So-
be perfect, but it would be
Yeah,
nice
I
to
can
know
ask
if
for
we're
it.
suddenly gonna get inundated with this, and that was my only question about that. Elections, no, that wasn't the one. Where was the next one? Number 10, where was that? I'm sorry, I'm losing myself. Village fire accounts, oh, that must be, audit fees and things, is that the
Mhm.
one? So that, I take it, is a
That's a
one-shot
one-off.
deal and it's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, it's over.
But we did go way over budget.
We did
there.
go over, actually, normally we budget 5,000 for that. And we
Ah,
went down this year
Yeah,
because he
because we
never
didn't
come anywhere
use it.
close to
Okay.
it.
But
The one year he does.
But we're still 56% on the whole column, so
Yeah.
I don't
and
have a
those-
big problem with
Why
that.
did we go so significantly over?
There was just so much extra work to
Separate the
separate all
Battery
these.
fire,
separation?
yeah,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
all that work he had to do on figuring out.
Yeah,
the,
well, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and we also had to have, the valuation done on all the fire apparatus, so that we had accurate numbers.
It makes sense. I just was hoped that was all it
We
was gonna
won't,
be.
and we
Yeah.
won't have to do that again.
Okay, 54, 47, and of course 48. We're getting clobbered by the looks of that.
Yeah.
We're only 50% through the year and we've got like 18% of the budget left.
Oh, do they go on that too?
Well, but that's what you call inflation. I
Yeah,
guess.
well, I
Yeah.
thought we sort of built in what we thought was
Well,
gonna
we got
be.
estimated rates from them, but yeah.
But if this continues, we'll be well over budget by the end of the year. I know the
Well, there's
bottom
not a
line.
thing we can do.
No, I just wondered if
Right to
she
the
had
Prime
some
Minister.
inside information.
Oh, actually, Maxine just reminded me, because one other part on here is that we need to actually start invoicing the fire department for their portion of our
Oh, right.
salaries.
Yeah,
And we haven't been able to do that yet because the accounts weren't all working. They now are.
But
But-
we're all done with the work.
They're all done, but yeah, so it's, but we still have to invoice
yeah,
them.
so
for-
those will go down.
So
a bit,
some of
Randy.
this will go down because that's.
Okay, no, that's good. I just need explanations for some of these numbers,
Thank
that's
you,
all.
Maxine.
I think the biggest explanation is inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was way more, I mean, I thought we built in CPI and all that stuff last year's budget, but apparently that wasn't good enough. Cyber insurance is a one shot, I hope,
Yep.
5492.
Yep.
So that's good. I thought that was only half the year we were gonna be in trouble there.
I'm
Didn't-
still not clear what cyber insurance is. Does anybody else?
Yeah, it's the, we added it just last
Yeah.
year, so
Yeah, I
it's,
remember, but I'm still not clear. what
yeah,
it is.
I'd have to grab the book to go through what it all covers.
Oh, I don't need details.
Yeah.
It has to do with when you get
Expanded.
identity theft and all that sort of, they
Yeah,
cover.
or-
So if somebody breaks into your system and
Yeah,
they steal some money.
something
you've
to
got
that.
to-
Yeah.
effect. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay, where else? Page 27, summer compost is done, I take
That
it.
is done.
Oh, that was a nice little win there. All right, where was
Okay,
it?
why is that variance?
Actually, that's not, we have one more that we just did for them, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, but still, we're gonna be under budget,
think so.
I think. Which last year, I think we got clobbered on that, didn't we, or something?
I think.
Land, oh, I don't care.
We did
Just
something
started
else
using
this
the
year.
fuel.
17,
Fuel
Lido
surcharge.
maintenance and operations. 5910, what was 17? Will be over Q2 maintenance
Oh, yeah.
hours to calm main pump. So that could be significantly, the pool is now officially closed. So the 26,900 and whatever to date is all that's happening, these other things. The pool itself is not generating any more expense at this point.
Well, the
in time.
public washroom is still open, so that's still.
Oh, is that
being
open all
cleaned.
winter?
It's
Till
open
November.
until Remembrance Day,
Oh,
so
okay,
that
so
still
that,
has,
so that's gonna be a hit, by the looks of that.
yeah, that's actually why I have the meeting with Fred coming up, because he called and said, we should probably talk about this bill, and I thought, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
we expected it was gonna be high because we had so many difficulties.
Well, we
with
got the pump
pumps
and everything too, yeah.
And the leaks and everything else, it was a lot more than we did
Sure,
here before.
I can understand that. I just say, we're 50% through the year, but please God, let the pool be closed now. But it-
Yes.
but it's open.
Yeah,
The
there's- so
washroom's
there's-
open.
There's
so-
more to come on that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yes.
The lifeguard wages you say you now have, and it was a win,
Yeah, they're done.
and it's good.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, okay.
But yes,
Uh,
and we got more reimbursement.
The race week thing went up. I think we just have an invoice or something for
We
them.
did, we just got an invoice for that, so it's not on here.
They jumped it by $200 or $300 or
Yeah,
something?
we did wind up having to pay transportation costs after all. And
Okay.
Without that, it would have been the same, but
Well, rough, yeah, I think it was like
yeah,
1,800 or
last year we
something.
didn't because people were carpooling, but this time we.
All right, it's legit enough. I just
Yeah,
wanted to
so
be sure.
We
that's
should
what
add
it
that
was.
going forward.
Okay, so that's pretty well. I got one more thing here I wanted to look at. I'm sorry if I'm holding everyone up, but, yeah, why did I click that? I don't want that one. No, I guess that was it. Oh, wait, it was on the page with the EMC. Nope, everything looks good here to me. That was it for me.
How about anybody else who pick up anything that
I
they have
just,
questions?
I have a
on?
question. Yeah, the gym lot maintenance, I see there's some money left. Chance we can get Elaine Collins to go down and clean that thing up. It's a mess. She's done it before. She'd know what to do. There's shrubs overgrowing, going through the fence, the whole bit. I don't know when the last time we had her do it, but
They just mostly mow the lawn down
yeah,
there. That's about
it
it.
should be in there in future to look after it. We
need
had
a
her go
quote
in,
from
she
the
cleaned it
landlord.
all up, did a wonderful job. And then we never have her go back.
So how often should it be done? Once a month during the season?
Well, I think you just, yeah, she knows better than I'm not a gardener.
Once a
but
season, probably.
we'll keep the
I
shrubs.
asked to do the washrooms and the little pool area
you did
and the fire department area. I thought I asked her for gym lot, but maybe I didn't.
The shrubs, Maxine, are right up through the fence. It's just overgrown.
Okay,
She may even put the pickets on for you, which is there.
okay, so we'll make a note of that, shall we? Thank you,
Yeah, I would
Maxine.
think, yeah.
Okay,
That's in Giblot, is it?
Yeah.
That's the gym lot.
Yeah, just lot maintenance.
yeah, since she's doing the other maintenance anyway, it should not significantly affect the budget, and that's
Yeah.
really important.
And but we're down quite low right now, what's left over to do anything.
Yeah, there's not a lot left.
Not a lot.
Is there, I
left
don't
over.
know, is there something coming up between now and?
Well, no, but I guess normally we'd say that's pretty well it for the winter, but
It is.
now you start asking her to come back and do these special jobs. Not that I'm
No,
against
no, we're
it.
talking about for next
Oh,
year.
next
Yeah,
year.
but clean it, if there's money to
Clean it
clean
up.
it up, do it now.
Oh, yeah, but there isn't a huge amount of money left in
Well,
Giblot.
it would not take her that long.
Yeah, maybe $200 or $300
Yeah,
left,
so
is all we got left.
Yeah,
Not that it matters, I think we're a little ahead on that one anyway.
okay.
Sure,
All
I
right,
have no
We
problem with
happy
that.
then with financial, anybody have anything more that they'd like to add? No? Okay, CFSC, Heather?
So, one
Wait
of
a
the,
minute, what goes there?
so, previously, the commission had only wanted to have the fire department's report included, but given other things that have taken place, I think in future, we'll put the minutes for the committee in here instead. So there's just the report from the fire chief, which I'll just let you read. And then this flyer here, is there will be a public information meeting on November 13th to basically present the design concepts. So the floor plans, but also the visual.
Without the offices for the commission.
Best not to mention, yes.
And it looks great. And the
Actually,
drawings
yeah.
are embargoed
It looks
until
really
this
nice.
meeting, but anyway. we'll,
Yes, I've seen them and it does look like a nice place.
yeah, I'm sure it is. So just to be aware of that in case you wanted to come and see what the plans are looking like.
Okay, so then the Lunenburg County Accessibility Committee, that's Geraldine, oh, yeah, that's me. They're very good, they have monthly meetings and they're well attended. Right now, they're working with the municipality on the other side, not our committee. I think it's Mahone Bay that they're working on doing final talking. And they're working also with Lunenburg itself with final details on those two governing bodies proceeding with accessibility. I don't think legislation is quite the right word for municipal governments, but bylaws, whatever. And apart from that, there's nothing new. It's steadily proceeding. It's a huge job.
Ellen's amazing.
I'm not sure, Jeremy, what is it they're working with Lunenburg and all that, but is it in the form of suggesting things or can they mandate?
Well,
or
there's two aspects to it. One is the province has implemented legislation requiring accessibility standards for new builds.
Yes. I know that.
So it doesn't affect those of us who are already built, although we have a moral obligation, let's say, especially governing bodies, to make our properties as accessible as possible. The town of Lunenburg has a new park that they're building that's associated with the government offices, where the municipal offices
Yeah.
or the town offices.
Town
are,
office,
yeah.
yeah.
So they're building a park beside it,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and there's already sort of a park there for the memorial for the war dead and so on, or
Yeah.
vision there.
Yeah.
So they are working on making that accessible, and they had presented plans which on the surface look quite good until people who have difficulties with accessibility actually tested the plans, and so they had to make some significant revisions. So they're working on that. And then they also made a proposal to the Mahone Bay people.
Yeah.
Who are also working on a new build, and I think it's a park. And also they're simply revising some of their standards for, even though it's not new build, they're revising standards for existing municipal buildings.
Yep.
And it's things like parking lots, for instance,
Yeah.
making it accessible spaces for persons, because sometimes they make this spaces, but they're not close to the building, they're
Yeah.
at the other end. So they're tweaking accessibility and working toward that. And then also our own municipality is working towards some tweaking of accessibility for current issues. They're not working on any new builds.
All right.
Okay, and VPAC, Randy.
Indeed. Well, Tom said it was mostly a matter of cancellations, but the hornet's nest has been stirred by this land use bylaw thing that's going now. And I was at both public meetings. The last one I think was September, sometime in September, the second one.
Isn't there one coming up very shortly?
Well, not the way it went was that after the last one in late September or mid-September, they took it back to council, and again, much of the same stuff was brought up at that meeting as had been bad. I think the first meeting, it was a pretty riled up crowd, and the council, I think, was put on the back foot by the kind of the severity of the reaction they weren't really expecting. Well, after the first one, they probably were. They went back and did not pass that again at their council meeting. Everybody was worried, oh, they're just going to push it through, but they did not. Decided to, a lot of it people like. It's not that it's universally hated, but a lot of it people feel enough attention wasn't paid to specific areas that they felt. So they've dropped it in our lap. To sort of see if we can get a consensus. Well, this was my first real meeting. They've been canceled, as Tom said, over and over again, but it was somewhat chaotic. You don't have to put that in the minutes necessarily, but there was a full gallery, of course, because they wanted the public to be able to speak at will without making appointments to do so. Well, there were 40 people in the chairs in the council wing, or 50 or whatever it'll hold, and some standing in the doorway. And so there was a lot of, mumbling and going on, and Garth was taking another kick in the head, and
Poor Garth.
well, I know, I'd hate to be him. And anyway, it was, I have to say, I'm sorry, I don't have a bullet point of what happened. They don't seem to give you the minutes until almost time for the next meeting. So I would have loved to have at least the draft minutes in order to pick out the things I thought we would want to
Yeah.
talk about, but they don't exist. So I've kind of tried to go through my memory and see what I remember. Carol Noss's term as chair was up. And so both her and Sarah Philby stood for election, and people didn't, some people like one and not the other, and they felt that a compromise was the best. So Carol said she would step back and be vice if Sarah, but Carol did say that I've been with this a long time and I'd like to see it finished or whatever, which was reasonable. Anyway, so that saved a lot of personal, oh, well, I want this one and I want that one. So Sarah Philby is now the chair, and vice chair is Carol. So there were three sort of major topics that were thrown to us. One was the accessory dwelling units. How many were you going to be allowed? How far back did they have to be? Did you have to do the front and clapboard, or, that sort of thing? It was nothing really architectural mentioned this time around. It was, apparently most people are okay with that. But the big thing was the residents of Water Street from the rope loft out to Duke along there were objecting to be in the commercial zone. They did not, once upon a time, that might have been a good thing, but they feel they had a petition from all of the residents along there who wished to be placed in a wanted that to be zoned residential. Anything from the rope loft up, nobody seemed to be interested in, up to the ferry wharf or whatever. So that was the first thing. That was nice and easy. Everybody was happy and it went along well. Then we got into the actual land use bylaws, and there was all sorts of, they wanted us to open it up to public. And Garth said, look, this is not a public meeting. It's a meeting of a committee. And so we made a motion, someone did, and we said, okay, this time we're allowed. All these people were there, and what were you gonna do, right?
Yeah.
So the things that we were tasked with tended to get lost in the confusion and people jumping up and wanting to speak and all that sort of thing.
Democracy is messy.
Yeah, well, yeah, but when that's for a public meeting, not for a committee
Sure.
meeting, right?
Sure.
So the accessory dwelling units was a reasonable, there was a lot of back and forth on that, but I think I don't remember the exact amount, but they cut back how many you could have on your property. It had, I think it was only one or two or something, and it had to have a separate entrance, and if it was attached to the house, it had to have its own entrance. And one thing, and it couldn't be a B2B. I'm not sure if that was enforceable or not. So that was the first thing. We kind of dealt with that. We did deal with the only 4 units to be allowed on any piece of property max, instead of the 10 I think there are now. And then the new bylaw said 8, and that was a big deal. So I think we moved that to say, no, 4 is good. Everyone seemed to agree with that. A lot of people said there shouldn't be any on some of these lots, but that's going back to council. The village density in general thing, of course, the same old, there's no water, there's nothing, how can you densify Valley Road when there's no water down there? And yeah, and Valley Road is still in the commercial zone.
Yeah.
So there hasn't really been any serious commerce there, except out at the end where Colin has his place, and that for years. Years ago, there were things along there, but they're all residential now. that kind of wishy-washed around and, various people spoke one way or the other. We didn't decide on anything there, that one. But density in general to us was, the public and us were largely in agreement that the ability to get water was foremost in whether you should allow any kind of density anywhere in the village itself.
Chief reasonable.
That was, it's always about water,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
So we went around, there was no motions came out of that particular thing. The other thing was, no, I guess the core commercial on Valley Road, there was someone who spoke and said, there's a lot of residential there now, we don't. But again, it was due to the chaotic situation, it was kind of left. Okay, yeah, we'd rather not, but some people want it. Anyway, that wasn't really dealt with on Valley Road specifically. As I said, the meeting was somewhat chaotic due to a full gallery with their notes and wanting to speak and whatnot. So we made a resolution at that time, or a motion that yes, for this meeting, since these people all came out, yes, you can speak without having a prearranged appointment or whatever, which is normal for committees. You don't just have the public joining in and whatnot. So there were a number of people who got up to speak, many of whom had already done so at the previous meetings and whatnot. But again, it was all about water, not specifically getting it, but not damaging your neighbor's water at the same time.
Yeah.
The public meeting instructed Garth to go to Sam and say, is there any way that we can forbid development in a certain place until the developer has somebody decide whether it's going to impact their neighbor's well? There have been a couple of wells that have gone dry due to development next door. And,
They stole the water.
something, but there is a potential issue with these type four unit developments and things like that in a water poor area that you could damage your neighbor's well by sucking up all the water, So that, unfortunately, Sam said, no, we have no provision to do that. There's no provision for the municipality to do that. Well, that generated a hoorah at that point. Denise got up, Denise Peterson-Rayfuse, and came forward and she said, the Provincial Environment Department has a thing where you can make people do that. If you want to go to them and say, we'd like you to make these people check the water, the hydrology around the area and stuff. And it would be a way that something the municipality is not allowed to do on its own could be made to happen before development proceeded on a piece of property. Well, Garth wasn't so sure about that. He didn't really, but then he said, look, I was in government and I know this exists. It's an environment department rule. And we could, if we can't do it as a municipality, take advantage of that government department rule to force developers to do studies on the water before they build these 4 and 8. He wants to put the guy at the hotel down there, wants to put 2 4-unit buildings on that lot down there. Well, I mean, that's, but he can't do it as of right. He's got the hotel because that's already passed if he wants to do it. But if he wants to change it, then he has to go back and get a development agreement, which I would say wouldn't be looked upon very favorably
And
by the
water
council.
is so scarce in the village.
Exactly.
Well, there used
So
to
that,
be-
that
There
was
used to be an
basically,
apartment building there. That was what, 4 or 5 units in that.
yeah, up at
And
the
they,
top of the
yeah,
hill.
the top of the
Yeah.
hill, they didn't seem to have any issues there.
But not 8.
Yeah,
I heard, I think it was 20.
Well, he was gonna do 2 10s. That was
Yeah.
the initial
Oh, that's-
thought.
and then I heard 2 8s.
Well, first it was gonna be a hotel with 20.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Then he changed his mind. For some reason, the hotel thing didn't happen, but he does have approval for that.
Yeah. I remember that.
But then he changed his mind to 2 10-unit apartment buildings or whatever.
Yeah.
How the hell are you gonna get that on that lot? I don't know. But anyway, that was, I believe, the idea in the plan, the new land use bylaw of saying you can't have any more than 4 on a lot, whatever constitutes a lot. I think he could cut 2 lots out of that, subdivide it and cut
Yeah.
that. But he's now looking at 2 4s if he wants to do anything at all. The 10 isn't gonna fly.
okay.
The 2 10s or whatever he wanted to do is council will probably stall that, until, see, the problem is until we pass the new law, the old law still applies.
Yeah,
So he can't do it as of right for anything that big, but they're unlikely, it's my opinion that they won't pass anything that big.
But could.
Yeah, they could, yes, because because it was refused at first reading or the first public meeting. At the first public meeting, the 2 of them overlapped and the new one took precedence. But since it was defeated, it's now back to, until we pass this thing, we're back to the old law. So, it's in everybody's interest to get this thing passed. But nobody seems to want to deal with the water. The water issue is, no one seems to have a way to force people to, they're talking about cisterns being required in new construction now and things of that nature, but that's in the future. There's nothing really coming up on that. But there are municipalities in the same kind of position who have mandated cistern in any new construction. You have
there's
to
no
have a
reason
cistern.
why they can't mandate that.
Oh, they could, but politically. So anyway, that was the 3 major things that we dealt with. Unfortunately, Garth says going to council might be problematical right now because of the elections. They're all going to be doing orientation on new councilors, and
Yeah.
so it may be December before we have a meeting, November 12th or something. But it may be December before they can get council to look at this due to the new councilors being indoctrinated, if you will,
There's a
or
lot of
whatever.
orientation.
Yeah. So that's basically where it stands at the moment. It's down to, it's not, we're just advisory. We have no power we can move to ask council to consider something. So, at this point in time, the sooner we get the damn thing where everybody can live with it, the better. But this water thing, I'm telling you, is gonna be a stick in everybody's eye until everyone, I don't know how you can make everybody happy.
I don't know, personally, I don't understand how they can possibly issue building permits if there's no assurance of appropriate amounts of water.
You can't make them do this, is what Sam says. The municipality has no power under the MGA or whatever they operate under to actually make developers consider water before they build. It's just not part of
Doesn't that
the deal.
sound odd? I mean, but it just sounds odd, doesn't it?
Well, people years ago realized the situation here, but you get people coming in from outside, and if they have any idea about the water situation here, they don't care. They just want to throw up the apartment building and start making money, and
They won't make much money if they get.
well,
free
yeah,
water.
so at this point in time, there were only 3 or 4 items that might actually be impacting the passage of this strategy, or land use bylaw, which goes with the strategy,
Yeah.
the town strategy. But that's basically where it's at. Like I say, I hope the next meeting that I go to is much more like this.
That's November.
Yeah, I won't be going to that one, but yes, November 12th, I think,
Okay.
is, I have unfortunately, they want to have it at 3 p.m. I'll be in Halifax at the dermatologist at that time. And, I've already informed Garth and Sarah that due to a medical appointment made a year ago, I'm not,
Yeah. you
I'm not
can't
going to
cancel
be
medical
going. No,
appointments
no.
Nowadays.
No.
I mean, if it had been in the evening or something, I'd probably be home. It just wasn't happening. And I think, I'm not sure if there's a regular time for these meetings. It
It's
seems like,
usually 4.
no, I mean, in terms of
Oh,
what
sorry.
time of the month that it happens. Because it's been
Seems to be-
canceled like
yeah.
twice just since I
It
was.
Yeah,
seems to
they
be the
cancel that.
second
Yeah.
Tuesday, but it does vary. you're
Well,
right.
well, I heard, I remember Tom saying, no, he didn't want anything more to do with it, so always gonna get canceled, and yada, yada. And the first time it was canceled, the first meeting that was set was canceled. I said, Tom was right about
Yeah, there
that.
seemed to be a lot of it when I was on it.
Yeah,
They may be having a quorum problem or something.
well, I'll tell you, it was either, I think Sid Demeric's term expired, but that has to be the council has to put him back on again. And
Oh.
so that summer, there's so many, Brenda, I think, is a community member, Sarah's a community member. But Sid and I think Hassan is council elected or appointed or
It's
something.
usually November that all the terms split.
Yeah, so I think it's gonna be nothing much happening for the next, probably till after Christmas, really, but be nice to get it done, and anyway, that's my report, if you can make any sense of that, Maxine. It's still down,
There's a challenge for you.
and avoid any personal
thing we're
disparagements.
Good thing it's recorded.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I guess probably you could distill what you think would be a reasonable.
I have a good boss.
You're gonna leave that blank for me. aren't you?
Well, thank you, Randy. That was very elucidating.
Yeah, very interesting.
I wish I could get the damn minutes because it's really hard to remember.
Well, you should ask.
I'm gonna ask next time, can I have the minutes, because I have a commission meeting, I'd like to pass this stuff on.
Yeah.
I don't
May
know.
encourage them. to
He
do
said
a
it'll be
little more.
closer to the next time when you get the minutes. I'm thinking, why should you have to wait until the next meeting a month later to get the minutes?
I mean, what's the difference? It takes the same amount of
Yeah.
time whether you do it right away or.
But to
later.
make sense of what happened there the other night, I can see somebody's gonna have to do some editing.
Got a challenge?
Yeah.
Okay, on like what I have been saying the last couple of meetings, I'm not going to read the motion for this next item because I think it really needs some knocking around and discussion. And I suspect that in the end, we may not want to make a motion, we may just want to discuss the issue. Heather is proposing, due to some changes in the way that our providers secure our communications. We're no longer able to use our own computers and laptops. And as she is suggesting that we might want to consider having the commission purchase tablets.
To be clear, we can still use personal phones and tablets because there's an app that can segregate the public administration piece of our communication, because all of that is required for us to hang on to for freedom of information. But there isn't a way to do that with a laptop currently.
Or even
so-
a desktop.
Yeah, or a desktop.
Yeah, you got me down for a laptop, but I have a desktop.
Yeah,
I know that doesn't matter.
so
I'm not a
given-
laptop guy.
So this may or may not even require a change. As I said, I've got a couple of options here, but if, given that most of you use your phone for any communication I send to you, and then you get printed packages, other than you not being able to use your laptop anymore, that's the only person I think it affects.
I don't know what Tom does.
Tom just has a phone.
Okay, which
Well,
I
we can
suppose-
use that phone.
Most,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to put an app on it, which, that's a zero for me.
I don't,
I
but I've
like-
got a very, very
No
secure
apps.
phone. It's called a landline.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
call
Oh,
me
you
on my
don't have a
landline.
cell phone then?
I do, but
Yeah,
the old days, way back, I can remember cell phones weren't trusted. If we got you up in the office, they'd say, can you get to a landline?
yeah, oh, yeah, I have a problem with Microsoft snooping on me with their app. I'm sorry, I'm a security paranoid about stuff like this.
Well, that,
Get a landline.
it doesn't see anything personal, it's just,
That's what they tell you.
it's
anyway,
just
yeah.
the,
I'm with you.
Yeah,
you know, it's just the public, it's the,
so
Village
you're
of
talking
Chester
about
stuff.
giving me the laptop back and get a bigger one for yourself,
well, we
or,
could do it that way, we could get you, we could.
well,
we
Tom
could-
might want one
We
too.
could
I mean,
purchase
I
a
don't-
tablet for,
No, Tom doesn't.
You don't want any of it, eh?
We
Okay.
get all our material printed anyway, and for
Yeah.
us to expend money for tablets just seems to me.
Well, the problem with, we need to get the message that the printed stuff is ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it on your
You get it
phone.
on your phone.
But that means I have to have
we'll have to put
Outlook
the
on my
app
phone, which is something
You
I
don't-
don't want. Yeah,
No.
Just can't
Use
you
email.
give it to him as.
yeah, but Outlook is our email app.
Yeah, but don't you have Gmail?
No,
What-
I hate Google even worse than I hate everybody
Well,
else.
all you have to do.
I have
is go-
zero Google and I
Yeah,
intend not to
no,
have it.
Do you have any email at all?
Yes, my
Okay.
normal email, which is where I get stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but all you do is have Heather CC you on your, whatever email you have, and then you don't have to have anything, because I get everything from me
Yeah,
on
I-
Gmail.
I
Get it on
use Outlook on my desktop
Yeah.
to get the mail from here.
Yeah, well, then that's.
And
all
I
you
also
need.
have my own email app that I use for my personal business and once
You have a
in while.
landline.
Yeah, I do, but you can't print over a landline,
No, but
unfortunately.
you come and get your material.
I do, but I need some way of getting, so in other words, I can't use it on my personal computer anymore, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose if I have a laptop or something
Yeah.
in here,
Or tablet.
yeah, that's fine. That was how it started.
Well, yeah, this was
You know,
yours,
that was mine
you
because
dropped
I
it
said I
off.
wouldn't put Zoom on my own.
But here's the thing,
computer.
as long as we know that the material is available,
But
why
how do we know?
need a tablet?
Does Heather call me up there and say, I guess your stuff
No,
is
Have
here?
you not figured out that it's available on the Monday before the Wednesday of the meeting?
It isn't always, but mostly it is, yes.
we try to have it for Fridays, doesn't
Yeah, that
always
was my,
happen,
yeah.
sometimes
But
it's
I mean,
Monday.
as long as as long as I can get the message.
You get it
I'm
electronically.
not putting all that
Friday,
crap on my phone,
As
basically.
long as you get an email saying it's ready to pick up, then
Or-
I can't be investing in tablets
Yeah.
for each one.
Oh, no, I'm not
I don't wanna
suggesting
call
that.
I don't wanna
people
tell-
every
you don't
time
have to
I
have
have
any
a
No,
question.
I just need some way to be informed to come and get the paper, that's
Yeah.
all. But if it's not, if it's a Microsoft app, let's put it that,
Yeah.
or a Gmail app, I don't
Well,
have anything to
let's
do with it.
consider it to be a Heather app.
We can
Yeah,
put all this
yeah,
on hold
yeah.
till April, can't we?
Yeah.
We can,
I just wonder, Heather, how would I get informed? Could you send an email to my address, my personal address that says, I've got your stuff?
I can, cause I copy Geraldine on
I
both,
get a CC
And I
on
used
my
to-
personal email.
Yeah,
but, again, like
but you're a
anything.
Gmail.
But anything that you do get from anybody connected with the village, you do have to make sure you don't delete it.
Yeah, right. Well, I've got it all now on my
Yeah.
personal computer. I archive it every now and again from the internet onto my hard
Like
drive.
it's
And
unlikely,
do
like we
that,
haven't
you know.
had a freedom of information request while I've been here, and even in Lunenburg, I only did it.
But that kind of a
3 or 4
message,
times.
your agenda is ready?
Yeah.
That's a big deal? I
No,
don't think so,
no.
you know?
But it's just the rules, we have to keep everything.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, yeah, I
I
always
don't
keep
care
stuff.
if I don't get this on my computer, I'm.
Oh, no, it was nice because I could have a quick
Yeah, I
read of
gotta-
it before I came to
I'd
the
rather
paper
come
copy,
get it.
but
Because
it's not
I'd rather-
necessary.
Yeah.
I just need to be apprised
stand
of when
and
the
sit there and
paper
read it.
copy's ready, that's all.
Well, then, I'm assuming
phone
that
me
there
up.
isn't any requirement to put a motion on the table to purchase tablet?
Not in my case, unless somebody else needs one.
Okay, then I think that we've exhausted that discussion.
I think Heather wanted to get a more robust one for herself, and I would
Well,
take
that's
that
an
one.
entirely different.
Yeah, and
subject.
that's.
Unless Tom
and
wants
that- I was thinking if we were gonna do this, we would do it then, but I was, to do something. To do that anyway, we can wait on that, cause what I'd like to do eventually is get rid of this and the desktop and have one.
Yeah,
that just docks when I'm here and
Oh,
comes away
biggie,
when I'm
yeah,
not,
okay.
but it's.
That makes sense to me. I mean, you need such a thing.
But I don't need it immediately.
Okay, well, put it on the agenda when you feel the need for
A
it. because
future
that is a
budget.
reasonable request for senior staff.
How do we tell them we're gonna
We don't.
stall as long as
None of
we
their
can?
Yeah,
business.
I'll just talk to Lisa and tell her that we're gonna park it until April.
April, yeah, what is it, fiscal year, is that what they're
Yeah.
saying? Oh, yeah, so we
Yeah.
don't need to worry about that right now. But I don't want to stand in anybody's way, but there are certain things I draw the line, I put on my computer, that's it.
I don't want it on my computer, and I personally, I don't want to have, I mean, I've got enough electronics, I don't need to be dragging around a tablet with me.
Yeah, I mean, for you guys,
For a
yeah,
single use,
Yeah,
I mean, it's dumb.
and you're happy with what you're doing now, apparently. So maybe when the time comes, I'll take that for business, and I'll just archive everything and put it on that instead.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, are we happy with that discussion? Moving on. Commissioner roundtable,
Do we have
does
anything?
anybody want to round?
Yeah,
Heather?
Sorry, I do have two admin questions. One is just to determine who will lay the village wreath on Remembrance Day. Because we've had Geraldine, makes sense as our new chair,
No, I wasn't the chair last year, Nancy was.
and you've done it
Could she-
a
yeah.
few years ago, but
I
not
did.
recently.
I did it once, you did it once. Our fathers were.
Get her name down
military.
before she changes her mind.
Well, being a military brat is something I take very seriously.
Yeah, me too.
And the only other admin question I had was, does someone from the commission want to sign the payroll or not? I mean, it is.
Didn't we just sign?
I see no reason whatsoever. That is a budgeted item that has been approved in a public forum. And if anybody buggers it up, the auditors will catch it and you'll go to jail.
So what are you asking?
Well,
You
we used
guys
to
is
get you guys to
paycheck?
sign it. No, we used to get you guys to sign payroll.
I don't see any
But so many
reason
times
for
I
it.
have people saying, what am I signing?
Yeah,
I signed it, but I don't know what I'm signing.
yeah. No,
You mean one of the
She has
checks
to
that
go
we,
over
It's
before-
not a check, because these
It's our
are
direct
direct deposit.
So
so how do
she
we
goes-
sign that? Anyway, we sign just
Well,
checks.
That gets
Yeah.
picked up in her
authorize
audit.
it.
Yeah, so
Heather
what
approves
Maxine
it.
always does is print out a report of what's
Heather.
going in,
Yeah,
and I go through it and add everything up.
so this would all
Yeah, mine
be you
stays.
guys.
So she does it and I
This is you
check
guys'
it.
pay and various things like
Yeah,
that.
lifeguards. and-
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's budgeted, it's legal.
No, but we
you know.
always sign a check for the lifeguards,
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
and that's.
Not,
okay.
not anymore.
No, they're
2
all
years
direct
ago you
deposit.
did, because 2 of them didn't do direct deposit.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right, yeah.
but
that's
our
right.
crosswalk guards and the lifeguards.
So you guys just do all that stuff? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's fine.
You
That's
approve
administrative,
the
yeah.
amount, the wages and so on
Yeah.
as part of the budget.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I didn't quite understand what, I
Okay,
thought, do
just,
we have
we
to
just
sign
wanted to be
Heather's check?
clear, because it's kind of gone back
Yeah.
and forth. Thank you.
Okay, so that's minuted, I assume, and everybody is happy with that, no further discussion? Okay, is there any in-camera? No. We don't have to resume the public meeting. I would happily accept a motion to adjourn.
Can I
Thank
just-
you, oh, go ahead.
Just, there's a meeting on the 23rd.
Yes,
November 23rd.
Are we gonna get information prior to the meeting to read?
yeah,
20th,
so
November
We
the
20th.
biggest thing
Oh,
the
23rd.
biggest thing you need
Yeah.
is the EDM report. Tom and
EDM.
Randy definitely have a copy.
Yeah,
I
have
found
one.
I don't.
You don't, and I
couldn't
wasn't
find
sure
it,
about
but I did
Laura.
Finally find it.
And so this is background reading, because this will be
Have trouble
the,
sleeping, it's great.
Oh,
reading.
geez.
Yeah.
I should have had it, I should have had it last night, I was up all night, oh my
Yeah,
god.
Some of it gets.
Tom took a copy a couple
It's-
weeks
It's
ago.
not the world's most fascinating read.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
And even less fascinating is the results of the planning workshop that
that was done with municipal affairs a few years ago.
Ah.
So this is just a copy, and again, Tom has
I'm
this.
just wondering whether I don't think I can.
No, I think
I
everybody,
don't, I'm not recognizing that one. I'm
What, did Andrea come down and talk
it
or
was,
something?
it was before Andrea, it was
Oh,
Marilyn.
then I wouldn't know, yeah.
So-
I'll have a look at it. Oh, I know what this stuff is like too.
So there's that,
Dense.
and then I will be, it's still in progress, like just kind of a PowerPoint to guide us through the session, so I'll,
Hopefully
that's
it'll
from
have
1
some
to
sort of
4, right?
structure,
What's
yeah.
that?
From 1 to 4?
yeah.
So
But this is the meat of the material.
1 until 3.
Oh, 1 until 3 or
1
1
till 4.
1 to 4, I think
I'm
it said.
sorry, is it 1 till 4?
I think that's what it said on
I
my,
got 1 to 4.
Okay.
I think I booked it 1 to 4,
Yeah.
if we don't take that long, I don't think anyone will
Oh,
complain.
okay,
No,
so yeah.
the meeting's just.
It's 1 to 4.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the strategic planning. I wonder
Yeah.
what Tom was
23rd, 1
talking about.
until 4.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I have it on my calendar. I just,
I got it right on my calendar, but I had to confirm at work today if I could leave work, and then I got the day off.
do you
I get
feel
to work
that
another
we'll be
day.
changing the December meeting at all this year? I don't know how close. Last year, we changed it because it was so close to Christmas that we didn't want to
Yeah,
do
we
that.
skipped the December
December
meeting, I
meeting
think.
is 18th.
No, we did it, but we moved it up. you know?
I think you might have moved it up a week.
I think we
I'm not
did,
sure.
yeah,
Not
yeah, we
sure.
moved it up
Well,
because
this year it's on the 18th,
Oh.
yeah, that's the week before.
it's getting
Yeah.
Yeah.
close, so we might want to think about, would we like to
Could
bring
we,
that forward a bit? you
at the
know?
November meeting, could we discuss that?
Well, yeah, oh, yeah, no, I just wanted to put it out there because we don't want to be last minute, so, oh my gosh, it's only a week till Christmas, we don't want to be in here.
And as we all know, December for all of us is gonna fill up fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just,
My calendar's almost
it's
full now.
actually not that unusual for councils not to meet in December,
Yeah.
but it's,
A lot of organizations that I'm with just cancel in December.
Okay, I just wanted people to start thinking about it because we only got one more meeting before it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
We'll
what's
put
that
that on the
require?
agenda,
I'll put it
A
on the
motion at
agenda.
the next meeting, or what, how do you,
sorry.
to
say it.
cancel, what's that require, a motion at the next
At the
meeting?
next meeting, we'll decide.
we can move
Okay.
it earlier or we can. just-
Okay, Gloria's motion to adjourn is on the table.
I think that's all you need, you don't need a second,
There's no
right?
second required for adjournment.
Tap your gavel, darling.
I guess
and
we're
done.
adjourned.
We're adjourned.
Adjourned.
Oh, happy reading.